exactly what you did. That's exactly what you did. You called me a nigger. You stuck your finger up for one parking spot. And there's plenty of parking spots here. So let's make a scene now. Let's make a scene. Let's make a scene. Let's make a scene.
To make a scene.
No, that's exactly what you did. You should apologize to me.
No.
Because what you did was very disgusting.
Listen.
And I didn't deserve that. I'm standing in the spot and I'm getting in my car. The doorknob didn't even come out when that happened. For you to call me a nigger. Because that's what you did. So you need to apologize to me.
I'm not apologizing.
You should apologize to me. You should not have called me a nigger. So you're acknowledging that that's what you did.
I didn't say that.
You did. And you stuck your middle finger up at me.
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did. And I know he saw you.
You didn't hear me.
I saw you. You lipped it.
Really?
You lipped it. You lipped it. You lipped it. You should apologize because this is one parking spot and there's a parking lot full of spots.
I wanted a park.
That's too bad. I was trying to get in my car. I was trying to get in my car. I was trying to get in my car.
Watch how he tries to disguise and justify his racism.
What's wrong with being a Jewish person or any culture or color? There's nothing specifically wrong with being any sort of race or ethnicity. However, when other ethnicities pretend to be Americans, that is the issue. America was founded by Anglo-Germanics and some Irish sprinkled in. These other groups, they were never intended to be Americans. They weren't allowed to vote or hold any positions of power. So when you ask, oh, what's wrong with being Black, Asian, Latino, Native American? Why should we give you any power in our nation? You have nations of your own. Go there and have power. You don't deserve power here.
Let me unfuck this. So there's nothing wrong with being non-white. You just shouldn't have any power or rights or political equity here. That's not a serious argument. That's racism laundering itself through random historical references. And the line, pretend to be American, is wild work. He's not talking about undocumented immigrants. He's talking about Americans that are Black and Asian and Latino and Jewish and somehow, hilariously, Native American. Where would you like these groups to go back to? And Native Americans were here before the fucking logo was designed. And Black Americans, their ancestors didn't come here. They were kidnapped and enslaved and stripped of their countries and languages and families and then forced to build wealth for the country you're now trying to gatekeep. Also, saying weren't allowed to vote doesn't prove they weren't Americans. It proves America denied people rights. Women weren't allowed to vote either. Were women in your family tree pretending to be Americans before 1920? None of what you said is principle. It's just selective racism. America is not yours because your preferred ancestors held power first. And I don't know what's in those books behind you, but based on that argument, neither do you. And remember, the dark left is the defiant left. Please join me in helping to call out the bullshit and bring some sanity back to the conversation.
Do you think there's a direct effect from slavery to how Black Americans are able to live today?
No, I don't. They have a chance to learn. They live in the best country in the world. If they open their eyes and listen, instead of just focusing on their little area and people that they hang out with, they would learn a lot.
But from what you said, it sounds like you were born before the Civil Rights Movement.
Oh, yeah.
So Black people couldn't buy houses in your lifetime when you were maybe a baby.
I'm well aware of that.
You were 5. So you don't think there's any downstream effect?
I felt oppressed at that time.
Yeah.
But that's what Martin was trying to correct. Right now, I see so many people living off the government handout.
I'm pretty sure welfare use per capita is higher in red states than blue states.
Yes, but there's so many people living off of the government handouts, and that is not that much farther away from slavery. They were a slave, they were given housing, food, clothing, medical care. The people asked them to work. Yes, there were landowners that were violent and mean to some of them, but there were others that were humanistic.
Hello everyone, I hope you are all fine. Welcome to Black White Commentary. I am your host Brian. And in today's episode, we are going to speak about the 3 videos that we have just watched. Realize that a lot of people are just justifying racism and also justifying the privileges that they have been having for the longest period of time. Therefore, in these 3 videos, connects through common theme, the normalization, denial, defense of racial privilege and racial bias, everyday conversations and public behavior. Also realize that the videos appears to highlight that how some white individual reacts when conversations about race, privilege, or inequalities are raised. We also realize that there is the discomfort and defensiveness that often emerge when systemic racism is discussed. In these videos, there is also the aspect of where there is also everyday interactions that reveal hidden racial assumptions, entitlement, or dismissive attitudes towards Black experiences. Like in the public spaces also, cannot use the public spaces if you're black, because white people believe that these spaces are theirs. Also, you realize that there's the contrast between how racism is experienced by marginalized groups and how it is minimized or rationalized by others. The overall connections, you realize that the videos expose how racism is not always open hatred. It can also appear through gaslighting, denial, privilege blindness, selective apathy, and public intimidations. You also realize that also it can appear as a defensive reactions when racial inequalities is discussed. In conclusion, you realize that we do not need to justify slavery. And also, the videos captures the perspective that minimizes historical oppression, reframes slavery through paternalistic lens, and shifts the responsibility of systemic inequalities entirely onto individuals affected by them. In the sociological and historical context, these arguments are recognized as communist rhetorical methods used to justify obscure institutional racism. Therefore, we don't need to justify racism by any way. We need to be apologetic whenever we are wrong. We need to protect those people who are under or those people who are marginalized in any community or in any country. Let's end racism all over the world. Let's meet next time. Thank you. Don't forget to click the like button, subscription button, and put your comments in the comment section.